Hey guys, welcome to this episode of SideQuest, and today it is episode 2 of Video Game Pickups. And I've got a decent little haul right here. Much like I mentioned last time, a lot of these are from Mercari, but there are a few from eBay. I've been dealing with, the inflated shipping prices a little bit here and there. But since I've got a decent stack here, let's just get right into it. And first up, we've got a game, and it goes right along with the season I'm recording this in, and that is Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and it is about a week out from Halloween when I'm doing this. So I'll be sure to pop this in and play this very soon. And this is a game I don't have much experience with. I've played it a couple times, but I really wanted to add it to my collection so I can get more into it and even bring my girlfriend along and have her play two-player with me. But very, very fun game that I will definitely be spending some time with this Halloween season. Next up is a reproduction, and it is of Capcom's King of Dragons, which to me is part of the Capcom beat-em-up Holy Trinity for the SNES, and that includes King of Dragons, Captain Commando, and Knights of the Round. I think Captain Commando is my favorite of the three, but King of Dragons is definitely my second favorite. I love the high fantasy Dungeons and Dragons style that this one has, and all the cool monsters you end up fighting. Really, really great game. Lots of fun. Glad to have a copy of some sort in my collection. Next up is a game that I've not spent a ton of time with, and that is Super RType. Now, I've played a lot of the first RType. I've still never beaten it, but put Super in front of the title, release on a new console. It can't be bad. It's Super RType. And I'll be sure to give this one a go in the near future as well. And again, $5, Mercari, can't go wrong. Next up is a Sailor Moon game, how appropriate, and it is Sailor Moon Fu Panic, which is one of the, I believe, 3 puzzle games for the Super Nintendo that involves Sailor Moon, and I don't know if this is the best. I really like the Sailor Moon R one, and I really like the Sailor Moon Super S one. This one kind of falls right in the middle, I guess, but it's a fun puzzle game. You really can't go wrong with any of the Sailor Moon puzzle games. They're all quite fun in their own right. And again, for $5 off of Mercari, I couldn't snatch this up fast enough, especially since I think I've seen this going for way more than $5 elsewhere. So I'm glad to have gotten it when I did. Next up is actually 2 games in the same series, and that would be the first 2 Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden games. And they're both interesting fighting games because you can kind of fly around and fight people from like halfway across the screen, and they'll do split screen, and it's really interesting. They are not the best fighting games on the system by any means, but they are fun enough and cheap enough to definitely own. Especially if you're a Super Famicom collector like me, they're worth having. They're fun enough fighting games. Next up is another fighting game, how appropriate. And it is Natsuki Crisis Battle, which is based off the OVA, Natsuki Crisis, which is kind of just an advertisement for the manga Natsuki Crisis. I'm not going to say much more about this game because I have a review of it already made, and who knows, it might even be up by the time this video goes up. If not, spoilers. Look out for that episode. But it's a cool fighting game. That's all I'll say about it. I guess with reviews in mind, here's another one that is either going to be out or not, and that is Athenas Design. Now this is a shoot-'em-up builder for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, so it's kind of like RPG Maker, but for shmups, which is really cool. And while I don't quite like the builder, there's an example game on here that's about 5 or 6 levels that is a pretty good shooter, and is definitely worth the $25 to own this game. Again, I will talk more about that in a future review. Next up is, this game has like one of the longest titles I've ever had to pronounce, and I'm not even going to give it a shot here, but it is a side story to the Goemon franchise, and it's a puzzle game, and you're guiding this fellow around basically on tracks, and you have to move these arrows to get him to go the right direction so that he'll end up at the end of the level and you can move on to the next. It's kind of fun. And it's one I actually have a history with. I stumbled upon it, probably 2-3 years ago, just after I started the channel, And I was like, oh, this looks fascinating. The graphics, it's got lovely silicon graphics, which really drew me in. And it's okay. It gets kind of frustrating, like, as soon as you get to level 5. Because you're on a time limit. If you didn't have the time limit, the game would probably be fine. But it's interesting. It's one that's worth putting in every once in a while for a few rounds of fun. And then lastly, we have a Frankenstein's monster of a game here. And it is of a quite notable game for Super Famicom and Super Nintendo collectors, and that is Aero Fighters. SNK's Aero Fighters. Now, this is only... I called it a Frankenstein's monster of a game because it's only half real. The PCB itself is real, but the sticker and the card it is in are not, unfortunately. But because of that, I got it for a hell of a deal from somebody on a SNES collecting page I'm a part of. But yes, got Aero Fighters. I'm really glad to have this in my collection. I paid nowhere near the prices it usually goes for, which is great. So glad to have this in my collection. It's kind of like one of those white whale games for a lot of us Super Nintendo collectors. And that's going to do it for this episode of Video Game Pickups. Check out my other videos, my other pickups videos, my reviews, my topic videos, and whatever else appears on my channel. And I'll see you next time. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Video Game Pickups. That was a 3. I can't do this.